What are, in fact, those habits that can harm your health? Let's get started. First, drinking a lot of water before going to bed. Wait, what's the risk in that? Drinking water is good? Most people benefit from drinking the right amount of water, which is about 30 milliliters per kilogram of body weight per day, okay? This is the amount that people who do not have severe congestive heart failure or severe chronic kidney disease should drink. 30 milliliters per kilogram of body weight per day. You take your weight and multiply it by 30, and that's the amount of water you should drink. Now, what's the danger of drinking too much water before bed? Oh, doctor, it's because I'll wake up several times to go to the bathroom, but there's no danger in that. That's where you're wrong. Do you know why? What is it like when you get up at night? You get up kind of groggy, kind of slow, right? Sleepy. A lot of people take Rivotril, take benzodiazepines, diazepam, bromazepam, and then get up feeling groggy. What is that going to cause? What's the problem with that? The problem isn't getting up to urinate. No. The problem is that when you get up to urinate, there's a risk of falling. My grandmother, my father's mother, is alive, thank God. But a few months ago, in one of those situations, waking up in the middle of the night to urinate, she tripped on the rug and broke her femur. Look how serious that is. She got up to urinate, tripped on the rug, and broke her femur. Thank God she has health insurance, that she was able to have the surgery, and that today she's doing well. She still has difficulty walking, she hasn't regained her mobility, but as much as possible she's doing well. So she was lucky. Because most people aren't as lucky as she was. First, because most people don't have health insurance. So if she had to rely on the public system, she probably would have been in real trouble. And second, she managed to recover from the surgery, which a lot of people can't do, okay? So the problem with drinking too much water before bed is exactly that. Why? There's a risk of falling, especially elderly people who shuffle their feet or people who take some kind of anxiolytic medication, which actually makes the person slower. So as a consequence of drinking too much water before bed, you'll interrupt your deep sleep. And that brings a lot of problems too, right? It can cause fatigue, confusion, and it can increase the risk of dementia, because if you don't sleep well, your risk of dementia is higher. That's why you should drink water, stay hydrated, but do it during the day. 2 hours before going to bed, 2 hours before sleeping, hold off a bit. Don't overload yourself with water right before bedtime, okay? And if you have to get up, avoid rugs, remove all obstacles, be careful not to trip over shoes, not to trip over slippers, not to trip over the bed, and use night lights as well to avoid walking in the dark, okay? So this is the problem with drinking too much water before going to bed. Then you might say, no one is going to die from drinking too much water before bed. Well, you drink water, get up to pee, fall, break your femur, complicated, right? Second habit, having a late dinner or eating very heavy foods. First, this will overload your digestive system, can cause reflux, and will harm your sleep quality. As a consequence, it increases the risk of stroke, heart attack, and high blood pressure during the night. That's why you should avoid very heavy meals at night. Have dinner about 3 hours before going to bed. Choose lighter meals, right? A protein with vegetables, some yogurt, a piece of fruit, okay? It's also important to consume protein, okay? Third habit, sleeping in a bad position. If you sleep on your back or on your stomach, this can affect your breathing, your spine, and your heart. And then, when you sleep poorly, it will harm your whole body, including the cleaning of your brain. And this buildup of, let's say, dirt in the brain can increase the risk of Alzheimer's. That's why you should sleep on your side, either turn to the left or to the right, preferably with a pillow between your knees as well. This position improves circulation, breathing, and your posture. All right? Fourth habit, a very hot bedroom. This is very important. Many people have trouble sleeping. In fact, one of the chapters in the book is exclusively about sleep, and I mentioned in one of the sleep-related habits that it's essential for the environment to be conducive to sleep. So the bed needs to be comfortable. The lights should be off. It should be a dark environment. It should be quiet. And the temperature should be pleasant. Otherwise, this will interfere with your sleep. Whether it's a very high temperature, very hot, or a very low temperature, very cold. If it's too hot or too cold and you're not prepared for it, this will obviously harm your sleep. And high temperatures disrupt deep sleep and even your hormonal regulation, reducing sleep quality, and increasing the risk of high blood pressure and heart attack. Why is that? People who sleep poorly have a higher risk of high blood pressure. People with high blood pressure have a higher risk of heart attack. That's why you should keep your room at around 20, 22, 23, or 24 degrees Celsius. If possible, set the temperature to whatever feels most comfortable for you. Wear light clothing, use thin blankets, and keep the ventilation gentle. Fifth habit, fifth mistake, and this one is also very common. My grandfather, my mother's father, used to make this mistake. So what was happening? He would faint, and when he fainted, he would fall, right? And then you might break a bone or end up with a serious injury. When you get up too quickly, your blood pressure drops very fast. That's why sometimes when you get up from the couch too quickly, you start seeing black. You get a blackout, feel dizzy, or get vertigo. Because there's orthostatic hypotension, a very sudden drop, a very abrupt fall in blood pressure. And that can cause nausea, it can cause fainting, a fall, a fracture, or a trauma. That's why when you wake up, first sit on the bed calmly, move your feet, and only then stand up. Slowly, okay? Don't just jump up all at once because then you'll get orthostatic hypotension, you'll feel dizzy, you'll black out, you'll fall to the floor and end up hurting yourself, okay? Avoid getting up abruptly, especially in the dark, all right? Sixth mistake, ignoring snoring and breathing pauses. What's the problem here? Obstructive sleep apnea is a very common and underdiagnosed problem, meaning that a lot of people who have it don't even know they have it. But it's very dangerous. Why? It increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases, stroke, and heart attack, raises the risk of dementia, and is associated with several other health problems. That's why if you snore, do you snore? Tell me in the chat, do you snore? I also forgot to ask which part of the world you're watching me from. Write it for me, I want to know. So answer me two things. First, if you snore, and second, which part of the world you're watching me from. I'm in Rio de Janeiro, and yes, I snore, folks. But also, how could I not snore? If my mom snores a lot, my dad snores a lot, my grandparents snore a lot, how could I not snore? Yeah, it's impossible. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, if you snore or wake up short of breath, which is even more dangerous, look for a sleep specialist. It may be necessary for you to use some devices like that CPAP to be able to sleep and improve your breathing during the night or to do some breathing exercises. And the seventh habit, this one is also very dangerous, is using medication without guidance or using medications that don't have a clear start, middle, and end to the treatment. What happens then? And this is very common with benzodiazepines like clonazepam and bromazepam. Like alprazolam, which are medications used to treat anxiety, panic disorder, anxiety disorders in general, and insomnia. But what happens? These medications, these therapies, these treatments, they need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And what happens is that it has a beginning and a middle, but no end. Why is that? The patient develops a dependence on the benzodiazepine, and it's hard to taper off. So, do you take Rivotril, clonazepam, bromazepam, alprazolam, diazepam? Do you take any of these? How many years have you been taking it? Because I'm sure that many people watching me here will answer saying they've been taking it for 20 years, 30 years, and the doctor never said it should be discontinued. Or the doctor never even considered the possibility of stopping this medication, because this is actually very common. Doctors don't usually have the habit of discontinuing, especially benzodiazepines, because they know it's hard to taper off. But it's not just benzodiazepines. If you take any sedative, if you take zolpidem, if you take a specific painkiller, a specific antihypertensive, or an antihistamine that causes drowsiness, these can also cause excessive sedation and will increase the risk of falls. The use of benzodiazepines increases the risk of falls, increases the risk of dementia, increases the risk of confusion, and consequently, the risk of premature death. That's why, first of all, never start medications on your own. Second, consult your doctor to evaluate safer alternatives. That's why I'm always available here to help you, okay? To offer consultations, all right? So we can try to find more natural alternatives that aren't as harmful to your health and carry fewer risks. And if you don't want to consult with me, that's fine. But talk to your doctor. If they prescribe you any benzodiazepine, ask them, doctor, how long are we going to use it? Is it 3 months? 4 months? When are we going to start tapering off? because I don't want to become dependent on this medication. I've seen a lot of people, several of my relatives became dependent on it. I don't want that to happen to me. So ask questions, right? Make the decision together with your doctor. This is also one of the reasons why this channel exists, to equip you with information so that you have knowledge, and together with the professional, you can make the best decision for yourself, okay? Because in the end, the only one who will be affected by the decision is you, not the doctor, okay? So if possible, there are natural options, okay? There's passion flower, valerian, chamomile, the possibility of meditating. There's melatonin, there's magnesium. So if your problem is sleeping, there are many alternatives. There is also, by the way, this medication here, folks, all right? Guys, look, an invitation. Read my book, okay? The Code of Kindness. Link in the description. Link in the pinned comments. Once again, the link is in the video description and also in the pinned comments. You won't regret making this small investment in what is most valuable to you, which is your life. Okay? So click there. Link in the description. Link in the pinned comments. Guys, give this video a rating from 0 to 10. Let me know what you thought. And please don't forget to like it. Give it a thumbs up, because that way YouTube understands that this content is relevant and shares it with more people. So your will help someone from a place far away from you also get access to this information, and then they'll have more content and more knowledge to make the best decisions. So your thumbs up could save a life, okay? That's true. I'm not exaggerating, all right? If you're not subscribed to the channel, if you're one of the 85% of regular viewers who aren't subscribed, look at how many people aren't subscribed to the channel. I kindly ask you to click the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell, okay? And share this video, because sharing health is an act of love. Keep watching with me and check out this video here where I talk about medications that increase the risk of dementia, and this video here where I talk about oils that help improve your circulation. See you in a bit.